Hey, what's going on? We recently had the chance to sit down with Dan Lorenzo and Johnny Kelly from Patriarchs in Black. The conversation went so long, we wound up slicing it into two parts. The link to part one of the interview is in the description below, so be sure and check that out. Also, if you like this kind of stuff, be sure and subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it to your friends. Hit the notification bell to keep yourself aware of the new stuff that we're posting. We've got some typo giveaways coming up, so you want to stick around for that. And with that, here's part two of the interview.
Look,
nice.
Well,
Yeah.
listen, I appreciate the thoughts on Sabbath, but switching gears a little bit, there is a lot of typo chatter these days
Speaking of Black Sabbath,
that we would be remiss if we didn't ask you about.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
so the live record, Kenny kind of announced that you guys were mixing something.
We were able to get our hands on a show. I just got a mix of one of the songs just like 2-3 weeks ago for to approve it. It's being mixed and mastered. It was mixed and mastered, and we were gonna put it out with one label, and now I believe we're doing it with the Nuclear Blast.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure when it's coming out. Right now we're going through the artwork and stuff like that, approving that kind of stuff.
So Monty Connor's putting it out?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, Monty. Yeah, well, at this point, everything that Typo has done, except for one record, it's basically been with Monty. We did one record, and it was we were able to obtain it. At this point, it's really hard to find stuff that's of any, sonic quality that we could release. At this point, I'm willing to just repackage bootlegs and put them out. Why not? Pearl Jam sells them at every show.
Well, you've definitely still got the audience
every night. Yeah.
The typo fan base is rabid.
Yeah, actually, it's pretty mind blowing. Back then, especially when I joined the band over 30 years ago, you're not thinking, what are people going to be saying 30 years from now? Nobody ever had that kind of
foresight.
Yeah, nobody thought that. We always thought that the band was going to end literally the following day. At whatever show we played, we were like, "Oh, this must be the last show. That's it." This can't keep going the way that it's going.
Yeah. Does it blow your mind when you pause and think about that?
I think about it, and I think here we are, that we're approaching 2026, and the band is still being talked about. We're still in a conversation with people, and it's funny that not funny. I mean, it's pretty cool that younger fans are finding the band, and the band is being discovered by new people still. And Peter passed away over 15 years ago at this point, and so you have this band that has been inactive for 15 years. The last show that we ever did was in 2009.
My kids go into Spencer's, they go in the Hot Topic, and they see the Typo Negative shirts, and they're like, I want one. And it blows my mind. They're 14 and 12, and they're into it. And then we're seeing, we posted this, I'll put this up, we're giving this away, and we have teenagers reaching out to us, begging us to pick them. And
it's crazy.
And I think it's a testament to, Peter and some of what he wrote and what the four of you did together. Music can stand the test of time, and it's obvious that Typo did, and it's amazing. And
it's a pleasant surprise. When you're in the middle of, you're in the eye of the storm, you're not really paying attention to what else is going on outside of it. And, seeing now, here we, fast forward, so many years later, and it's like, wow, we actually did something, we made a mark, left an impression, and, touched a lot of people, not in a real creepy way of touching.
Yes.
No, you're doing that now in your later years. Yeah. I'll ask. Sorry, Derek. I'll ask. We talked with Kenny a few months ago, and Derek asked a question, and I will ask you the same question. If you could talk to Peter now, is there anything specific you would say to him, or What would that conversation be like?
What would I have told him? I would have said, you should go see a doctor.
Mm.
You know, go see a doctor. Quit bullshitting. Whatever. You've been sick for a few days. You're not getting any better. It's time to go see a doctor.
Yeah.
This isn't something, like whatever home remedy you're doing, or, I know Peter didn't go on the internet. So I know he wasn't going on the internet trying to play doctor to himself, but, because, like after finding out, about, how he passed away was, it's something, if he would have been ahead of it, chances are he'd still be here.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't, from what I understand, he didn't know what was happening to him was as severe as it was. He thought he had the flu.
Yeah.
So I guess he thought, he could ride it out, and then it got to when it got to the point where, he was in really bad shape. That's when he was like, all right, I'll, call an ambulance.
Yeah.
But if I had spoken to him, I would speak to him pretty frequently. And we would talk about a lot about, like, about adulting stuff, like Peter had gotten sober, and, he's getting everything in his life, getting his life in order.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd talk a lot about that kind of stuff. And, like right before he passed, he was telling me about one of his cats was really sick. And he was taking the cat to the vet, doing that kind of stuff. And he was telling me it was really expensive, the treatment to try to save his cat. And so then find out he passed away, I was nervous that he may have relapsed. And come to find out, he didn't. But that was the first thing I thought of. When it was like he was going through all this stuff, with his cat, whatever, maybe he got upset, relapsed, body couldn't take it, and then that was it. But that wasn't the case at all. Come to find, the toxicology report came back clean, and then to find out, with the sepsis, that could have been prevented. So then I got annoyed, I got upset. It was like, why don't you just go to the doctor or whatever? But had I spoken to him when he was sick, I would have tried to push him to go to the doctor.
What would current day Johnny say to Peter?
Don't go on the internet. Don't read the news, and don't go on the internet. You're not cut out for this.
Yeah. Good sage advice, man.
Who is?
Turn it off.
No, they'd be, Peter, in this current climate, there are people be outside of his house with fire and pitchforks every night.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And it would wind up becoming like he would probably find it really funny at first, because he loved like getting a rise out of people that way, and like, like poking the bear. He loved doing that. He loved doing shit like that. Now,
you mean fuck you, God wasn't trying to poke the bear?
Actually, no, he wasn't. He was upset with God because of what was happening to his
family.
I think the song it's either about his father or his mother, and he was upset, and he felt betrayed, and that's what that was, But yeah, most people on the internet, oh my God, he's kill him, burn him, he's a witch, burn him at the stake, he's a witch, like Monty Python.
Well, I have to ask one more typo question, because again, we got it. Tribute shows. Kenny had mentioned that there's talks, percentage wise chance of a tribute show. What is it? Is it 20%? Is it 50? What do you think?
Honestly, I really don't know, because what's happening now is people are starting to approach us, saying, "Hey, have you thought about doing something, or now may be a good time to do this. It's been 15 years. It's time. You guys should do something." So we're starting to get approached by people about doing something, but it isn't something that we've been say like, like actively pursuing or having discussions about, or where it's like, all right, when are we going to do this? How are we going to do it? Who are we going to do it with? None of that has come up. We've never discussed who would sing.
Yeah.
That conversation has not happened.
Are those approaches welcome?
Oh, I mean, it's of course the curiosity's there to see, who knows, but I mean, yeah, I think it's time to do something, in terms of like, celebrating Peter's life and his music, and it seems like, I mean, you go online and you see people like, like after you guys posted the stuff about Kenny, and you see all the people, you see a bunch of people, a bunch of haters and stuff like, oh no, you can't do it. No, Peter, no typo negative. And then there's other people who be like, I'll be there. And I watched it with, with Pantera, for instance. Everybody complained all the way to the arena. They bitched all the way to the arena. And now I like, we toured with Pantera. We toured with Pantera when they were at the height of their popularity, at the height of it.
Yesterday?
And no, now it's yesterday.
Right.
But when the band was active, we were at.
But you didn't drink with them at all.
No. We usually talk about like physics and lawn care and things like that.
No toilet paper.
No, environmentally, that would be environmentally irresponsible to waste so much paper. And to see what they're doing, I saw them play 2 months ago. They played in Dallas, and I went to the show, and they all the touring that we did, they never played rooms that big and sold them out like that. Mm-hmm. When we played with them, we played at Nassau Coliseum, and Nassau Coliseum is the smaller arena at the time. Like Nassau Coliseum's Long Island, Madison Square Garden in New York City, and then you had like the Brendan Byrne Arena, or which Prudential Center now, and Nassau Coliseum was the smaller one, and it wasn't sold out. And this was far beyond driven. At the time, Pantera was huge.
Yeah.
But now they're filling up sheds all over the place, and so I guess seeing like the success that a lot of bands have had that don't have all of the original members in them and stuff like that. Of course, typo negative is going to get thrown into the conversation.
If I can throw
that now that it works with all these other bands, everybody out there, the Sharks are out there now saying, who else can we get? Who else, who else can we resurrect?
I love what Linkin Park did. I forget.
Linkin Park with they got the girl singer. I mean, it was cool because didn't they have like the whole band except for the girl that took the lead vocal thing? And then after they did a couple of shows, and then after that, a lot of people started stepping out. Like the drummer only did what? Just a couple of shows or whatever, and then he stepped out. I know that Linkin Park was a big band. There was what, like 6-7 people in that band.
Yeah.
But I thought the whole approach to it was really unique, and it worked. I mean, I was never really a big Linkin Park fan, but which I heard the single, and I thought she did a great job. And the band, it sounded like the band, and they sounded great, and it was something unique. They weren't taking that like cover band approach. They were trying to do something unique with what they had, which is what I admired. I thought that was really cool.
I think it'd be cool to see like
the DNA is still there.
Yep. I'd love to see a girl that's like Peter's yin to her, she's the yin to his yang, like a small.
I think so. I think with something like that, it's, like, of course, everybody's, everybody's a music executive now online, and they know exactly what we should do.
Right.
They have it all figured out.
You got to pay attention, Johnny.
Right. I'm just missing.
A fan just saying, hey, that's what I think would be cool. But in the end of the day, you have to have chemistry, right?
Yes. And you have to have you have to be, it has to have some kind of like sense of purpose besides making money.
Right.
And I think that, fans would see something that would be like a blatant cash grab.
Yeah.
If you did something like that, like it would be very easy to find one of these dudes that plays in some typo cover band, get the tall guy with the long hair and the fangs and put him in the front and have him roll his R's when he sings and stuff and, do the whole thing. And it's basically, you have guys in typo being in a typo negative cover band. It's like that band, whatever. It'd be like, that band like Hairball.
Well, we have the utmost faith you guys will make the right choices.
It would something like that it would have to be really cool. And really the whole purpose of it would be to, to celebrate typo negative.
Mm-hmm.
Not to recreate or try to recreate something that you can't do with Peter gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it would have to be a tribute to what he did, not to, cover it or to recreate it. There are certain aspects of it that would be cool to do. Of course I miss playing those songs. I miss that. And, I miss the music. I miss the band. I miss the guys. It's been really different, the last 15 years, still doing it, still playing in bands and, traveling and touring and, performing and, but it's just different. It was different, with them. And I miss them. And, I would love to play with them again, like the purpose would have to be, would be to be celebrating something, not covering something or recreating something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I said, we look forward to you guys making the right choices for you. And because if it's the right choices for you, it'll be the right choices for Peter. And hopefully Josh is interested in doing it too. That would be great too.
Well, everything we do, Josh is involved. I do love talking to him and I do love getting he's still the same guy.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Slitzy too. He's got to be involved.
But yeah, it wouldn't be something like, hey, we're putting the old gang back together. You can't do it like that.
No, but he needs to be there with the camera and,
But he was a very, for us, he was a very important part of who we were, and he was with us every day. He was there he got hired. I'm convinced he was hired just to torture us. No, I'm being I'm not trying to be funny. I'm pretty convinced because he used to work for our manager. Our manager had like a skate shop in Brooklyn, and he used to work at this store. And then he started working with our manager had new bands, unsigned bands and stuff like baby bands. And he was trying to break in new bands, and he would have Jeremy go out with these bands and help them. And a bunch of those bands, they would come out when we were playing, close to home or whatever, they would be open enough for typo negative. And that's how I met Jeremy. He was working for one of Ken Creedy's other bands. And then we were touring, and I think we started touring with Danzig. And I forget where we were, but we were on the other side of the country. And I see Jeremy and I'm like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I'm here I'm working with you guys. I was like, doing what? And he's like, oh, I'm just here, helping out wherever guys need help. It doesn't sound like much of a job. And so anyway, that's what he was doing. He was like a, production assistant was, I think, his official title. And our light guy saw that he really wasn't doing anything. And he started making Jeremy help him with the lights, helping him set up and stuff. And then he taught Jeremy how to work on the console and stuff and do the show.
Yeah.
And then, Jeremy was just there to harass us. If you ever asked him to do something, if you needed help with something, he wouldn't do it. And he'd just berate you and just give you a hard time and stuff. He was literally there just to bust balls. And, for a long time, our tour manager would be like, we have to fire these people.
Yeah.
We would be like, oh no, but he's so funny. He makes us laugh all day long. And, but yeah, that's how Jeremy wound up becoming the light guy. Then our original light guy, Neg, he left. He stopped touring, got out, married a girl, moved to Sweden.
That's it.
That was it. And then Jeremy took over the job as lighting director. That's how, and then Jeremy stayed with us for years. He was with us. I think at that point, he was with us for like 14 years, something like that.
Yeah, he was there a while.
14, 15 years. Yeah. He was there a long time.
You wouldn't have the VHSs, the DVDs without them.
That could be looked at two different ways.
Oh, okay.
It's you could look at it in one sense where it's like, wow, it's cool that we have this footage, and it's like, and then the other way would be like, Jesus Christ, we have this footage.
Somebody
why are we
captured what
putting this
happened.
out? Yeah, right. We're supposed to destroy the evidence, not keep it.
Well, he posted on Instagram that he found more videos and he has more footage.
There is a lot more footage, and I mean, a lot of it is mundane and stuff like that. But some of the stuff that he's shown me, some of it's actually really funny.
Well, hopefully we'll see it.
Some of it is definitely not suitable for 2025, 2026 and stuff. Like it's a different world we live in. But some of the stuff actually is really funny, and it was great to see it. But I've seen it, and now I can't unsee it. But Jeremy says that he has other stuff, and I found a couple of things. I had a little video camera. I mean, I wouldn't use it a lot, but there were a couple of things that I found. I have some footage from when we were shooting the "I Don't Want to Be Me" video. Nothing.
Yeah, just behind the scenes
great
shit.
or whatever. Yeah, just some stuff like like them putting shit together, and and
nothing involving farm animals.
Well, yes, there's nothing that can incriminate anyone.
That hesitation concerned me. I'm not going to lie.
Well, I had to think. I was like, wait a minute, what do I have on there?
Well, we're probably going to have to split this into 2 or 3 parts. However, we still have our fan questions, and John has compiled those. You want to do a rapid fire?
Let's bust through. Now, some of these, and thank you to all our audience members and listeners that chimed in and had questions. Some of them we've already answered, but we'll go through a couple.
Okay.
I
can come up with an I can come up with an alternative answer.
Oh, sure.
Come up with something else. Yeah.
Decide if you like something else better. Yeah. Maya Hoffer wants to know if Patriarchs in Black or any of the other bands that Johnny is in has any plans on touring specifically in Vancouver anytime soon.
Touring now is a whole lot different than it was a few years ago, and it's really tough to get a band on the road.
Yeah.
The answer, no.
And
it's tough to get a band on the road that has like 20 people playing on the record.
I've wondered about that too, how you guys would finesse that. I mean, presumably you'd have to pick one singer and one bass player, right? Or maybe 2.
Well, and then that would take away from the whole thing that Patriarchs in Black is, and that's the unfortunate part of it. But yeah, logistically, Patriarchs would be a total logistical nightmare. And when you start getting into the X's and O's about, what kind of money Patriarchs in Black would be guaranteed, like, how much money we'd be making, it doesn't even, you couldn't even put everybody on Greyhound buses. Forget about flights.
All right. Very good. Floral Owl's mother had a whole slew of questions, but we'll try and narrow it down a bit. Have either of you ever reached a point where you realized that you'd been doing, I think this is a technical question in terms of playing guitar, playing drums. Have either of you reached a point where you realized you'd been doing something wrong technique-wise and had to fix it? We've talked about this with you, Dan, a little bit. You've got a very unique picking hand and all that. So what problems have you guys encountered from a technique standpoint that you needed to revise later down the road?
I'm going to go back.
You want to go first?
Remember when Randy Rhoads came out and Eddie Van Halen came out, and I realized, man, I guess I'm not really a guitar player. I would try and figure these things out, and it was so hard. So I'm like, I'm just going to concentrate on, answering fan mail and promotion, and maybe I'll still be in a band. I'll write some riffs, because I do everything wrong on the guitar because I never had any lessons. So I hold the pick incorrectly. I pick incorrectly. I mean, I took music theory and harmony for a couple of years, but I mean, nobody watched me play guitar, and now my wrist has been killing me for 15 years. So I do everything wrong, but what's great about it is it gives you your own style.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Johnny?
I do all kinds of shit wrong all the time, and it's constantly, I try to look at what I do. I'm a student of what I do, and I'm always trying to learn something, trying to push myself in some way working on something. A lot has been focused on my grip.
Okay.
And my grip and stick control.
Yeah.
Been putting, and I find myself even like other times, like, there would be weeks where I'm playing a lot more than others and stuff. And I'll actually just sit behind the kit, not just like working on music, but like just practicing,
Yeah.
technique and, practicing my, double strokes and single strokes.
Go back to the rudiments.
And
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah. And I still find myself, I have this bad habit of, and I play long sticks too. The sticks are like, I think they're like 16 and a half inches long.
Are you still playing
So
head sticks?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're the Tommy Lee signature model. So I don't,
it was like 18 inches
whatever,
long.
2B. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had, I used to play, he has two models. He has the concert model and a studio model. The concert models were like 17 inches long.
Yeah.
And I played those for years. And then I went to the shorter ones and they were like 16 and a half, 16 and 5/8. And I still find myself, well, I'll keep the stick in my hand and it's like, it will only be here to use the bottle. It'll wind up sitting here instead of being here. And so then it doesn't have the proper balance for it. It's great to hold it that way because now it's like you have something longer and it becomes heavier when you're trying to hit something. But then when you're trying to do something that involves, say, like, some kind of skill, it's not the best place to have, it's not the best place to be holding a stick.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the last question I think was just for Johnny, but I want to extend this to Dan too. Shino Hammond asks, if Johnny Kelly was stranded on an island and could only play one brand of drums for the rest of his life, what would it be? And again, I'll extend that to Dan as well with guitar. Because I know you're a Gretsch player, right, Johnny? Long time Gretsch player?
Yeah.
And Dan, you're a long time Gibson Les Paul guy, correct?
Absolutely.
So would that be it for you guys? Would you just stick with what you got?
Yeah, that's all I need. That would be it. I have just in the spring, I just got a new kit from Gretsch. I got a Brooklyn kit, which is for years I've had the broadcaster kit, which is amazing in itself too. It's the shell is poplar thick. It's a 3-ply shell. It's a thick ply of poplar sandwiched between 2 thin plies of maple. So it has great tone. Doesn't have the projection, say, like an all maple shell kit has. Maple has more projection to it. And the Brooklyn kit is multi plies of maple and poplar. And it's classic. It's a classic sounding kit. And so, and I got it in the big size, 26, 14, 16, 18. And the thing just sounds monstrous.
Yeah.
It sounds perfect.
Love those huge kick drums.
Yeah. Just moving air. Everything that it hit is just air.
How about you, Dan? What are you living with for the rest of your life on the island?
The Les Paul. And do you have a Les Paul custom I know you play guitar, John. You have any Les Pauls?
I wish I had a Les Paul.
No.
That is one that is not on the wall.
So the craziest thing about Les Pauls, if anybody buys a Les Paul, I think it's still this way. You spend $3,500 on the guitar. You pick it up. You got to play live, and all it does is feedback. Pickups are useless. So you have to play pickup, which lowers the value of the guitar. Not that I care, but
Sure.
Les Paul. The last 20 years, I'll plug into whatever amplifier. I was just 1 second on my sound because if it's a Les Paul custom with a DiMarzio pickup, it doesn't matter what you plug it into. Literally doesn't
go wrong. Awesome. Well, Derek, before we get into the quickies, you got anything else?
No, it's been a lovely time catching up with you guys. I like that we do this yearly, and I expect that, Dan, the way that you crank out music, we might be doing this every 6 months.
No, I'm trying. I went after we handed it home. It was in February, and they said we're not going to release this till August. And everybody told me stop releasing so much music, including the record label. So I didn't play guitar for many months. I didn't write a song, and I'm getting back into it now. And
you sought therapy and got help for the problem.
Yeah, fucking. It's so hard, we don't get any money. I mean, every song we do, I lose money because I get so excited. I buy stupid ads on Blabbermouth or whatever. So I lose a lot of money doing it, but I love it, So I'm trying to cut and even figure, do we release records or do we just release a single every now and then, I don't know what their answer is.
Well, the last thing we got for you is a little section called Quickies. They're real simple, this or that, and you can keep it short. You can expound your answer, whatever you want, but they're pretty simple. We're not going to tax you too hard. So, and these are for both of you guys. First one, analog or digital?
I'm going to say digital.
Okay.
I'm not a purist. You know, I mean, there is a certain warmth that comes from analog that it seems like, you know, the whole digital world is trying to replicate analog sounds. But, you know, I'm not playing it Steely Dan.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to know the difference of what I'm doing.
Okay. Awesome. Next one, burgers or tacos?
Fish tacos for me. I don't eat meat.
Okay.
I am a Texan now, and I do eat a lot more tacos than I did. But I will go with a burger.
Okay. Very good. Books or movies?
I'm going to say books. I've been reading some books again lately. Now that it's getting cold out.
The only books I read are shop manuals, wiring diagrams and stuff like that. So
good. Now, hey, you're still reading, so
I will go with movies.
Okay. Yeah. Who's not
actually? You know what I'm on. You know what I'm on a kick now, and it's, you know, like, I don't know if you guys have, like, I have a Samsung TV, and Samsung has like their own TV service.
Oh, yeah, I've seen
like
that.
Their own streaming service, which I've never used until about 2 weeks ago. And they had the Walking Dead channel, and I got sucked into it all over again. All over again.
So we're going to say
the Universal Monsters channel that gets me.
It's
right.
It's like, you know, like the monster channels. But yeah, that's what I've been on that lately.
Fair enough. Awesome. All right. Cruise on a ship or travel by train?
Train.
I've only done small trips on a train. I played on a few cruises. I'm playing on a couple of cruises next year too. I will go with train.
Okay, cool. Unlimited
Absolutely.
money or unlimited time?
Time.
Okay. Would you rather lose your sense of taste or lose your sense of smell?
Smell.
Yeah.
It's a fucked up question.
Yeah.
Well, you are dark,
All right.
so you should be used to that.
Would you rather have all your mistakes forgotten by the world or all of your secrets protected forever?
I guess mistakes forgotten. I don't have secrets, really. I'm weird.
Yeah. That's open. That's cool. You're going with secrets? Okay. Well, we know there's some questionable farm animal activity in your past. So, and the last, go ahead.
No, allegedly the farm animals.
Fair. Yeah. And the last and perhaps most important quickie, Shit Talk Reviews or any other podcast?
I love your podcast.
Shit Talk Reviews. Come on.
Yes.
God bless you.
Doing something right.
Gentlemen, listen, thank you both so much for all the time.
Welcome.
You guys have been real generous, and we always enjoy hanging out with you guys.
Thank you, guys. A lot of fun.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.